Hey there guys, I know it's been quite a long time since I've actually made a video on this channel, which is really a shame because I do appreciate talking about technology with you guys, getting your guys' input, even though I haven't been on here reading your comments or anything. And I'm also supposed to be making a review of a game for the Android and iPhone, which I will be doing. So if you guys are watching this, I apologize, I haven't made it yet, but I am going to be doing that. But anyway, today's video is going to be the Samsung Nexus S versus the MyTouch 4G. Both are really great phones, but recently I had to make the decision as to which phone I was going to use as my daily phone, and I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on the difference between the two phones. Now, of course, the Samsung Nexus S is made by Samsung, and the MyTouch 4G is made by HTC, which is who made the first Nexus 1. So, there are some key differences between the phones. First we'll talk about pricing. The Nexus S starts out about, let's see here, and this is off contract by the way. For the Nexus S off contract, it is $530, which is pretty steep. I bought this one the day of the release. I'm sure you guys have seen the video. This, and then of course we have the MyTouch 4G, which can be, I think it's like $200 on contract, or no, it's probably $100 on contract. I bought this on eBay for $350, and that also includes everything, you know. So the pricing is a little bit steep, but one of them is going to be sold, just so you know. I'm going to tell you which one at the end of the video. But anyway, so let's get started on the hardware of the phones. Both phones are pretty great phones. They're pretty beautiful, as you can see. I really do like the style of the Nexus S. A lot of people don't like the plasticky feel of it compared to the Nexus 1, which is metal, but I really do like the style of it. It looks very nice. It is curved, if you can't tell. I'm sure you can't in this video. But anyway, so let's get started. The Nexus S is totally carrier unlocked, which means basically you can use it on any SIM card or any carrier that supports SIM cards. So in the United States, that would be T-Mobile and AT&T, so you really don't have too much choice. But still, I'm sure there are a few other carriers that I'm going to get comments about. Aaron, you didn't talk about this. Well, I'm sorry. But anyway, those are the two main carriers in the United States that support SIM cards. So if you want an unlocked phone, of course you could get the Nexus S. But now let's get on this. The MyTouch 4G is set for only work on T-Mobile. However, if you root it, you can use it on any other carrier. This one, of course, has been rooted. I actually rooted it a few weeks ago when I got it. That, of course, does void your warranty, though. Okay, let's talk about something else. So, T-Mobile, of course, is an HSDPA. HSDPA Plus. I'm sorry, HSDPA Plus network. Which means it's basically they're calling it 4G. So those are just faster speeds than the traditional 3G phones. I believe it's like 21 plus meg downloads. If you ever see that, I would love to see a screenshot of that. But anyway, this is a 4G phone, so it should be getting faster download speeds. This is just a 3G phone because they were trying to have it more compatible with all the different carriers. So, really, there isn't really too big of a difference. I haven't seen much speed increase. I did get about 5 meg down on this, and I can usually get about 3 down on the Nexus S. So it's not a real big difference. It's not a deal breaker. Well, it was for some people, but not for me. So if you in a HSDPA Plus neighborhood, then maybe it would be something different for you, but I guess it's not really a big difference for me. Another thing we're going to talk about is Bluetooth. The Nexus S is Bluetooth 2.1. This is 2.0. I don't really know what the difference is, I'm sorry. But it's worked great for me, so not really a problem. Let's see here. Near field communication. I actually did type this stuff up in a spreadsheet, so I know what I was talking about because I wanted to get all my thoughts organized. But anyway, let's talk about this. The Nexus S does have near-field communication, which the MyTouch 4G actually doesn't. Right now, I think this is the only phone that does have near-field communication. In the United States, it isn't really going to be too big of a deal. There's only a few stores that actually do use near-field communication, like Starbucks, I think. So right now, if you're living in the United States, it's not really too big of a deal to use it. I've never actually used it once for the months that I've owned it. But it is a pretty cool feature, and I'm sure people in the United Kingdom, England, actually do use it more because I have heard that it's more popular there, but not here. So if you actually know that you can use it, hey, try it out. Let's see, what else do we have here? Assisted GPS. Both phones, pretty much any modern phone has a GPS, which means you can basically use it as Google navigation. Use that for when you're driving, don't know where you are. I've actually used it quite a few times on the Nexus S, but it also is included on the MyTouch 4G. It is very useful. Even in beta, it does work quite well. Even when I don't have the GPS, I can just pull out the phone and it tells me where I'm going, which is really awesome. So that is a great feature to have on a phone. If you don't have a phone with it, you might want to upgrade if you want to use that. Let's see here, what else? Oh, this is one of the biggest flaws in the MyTouch 4G, which I guess really isn't a flaw, but it is a disappointment, to me at least. Now, as you can see, there's a big difference between the displays in the MyTouch 4G and the Nexus S. The colors, the screen, it's just perfect on this phone. So for display, the Nexus S actually has a 4-inch Super AMOLED screen, which is just beautiful. It's probably one of the best screens I've ever seen on a phone. I really enjoy it just amazingly. Compared to the MyTouch 4G's 3.8 TFT display. Both phones really do look great, but seriously, if you look at this phone and look at this phone, you can see that the screen on the Samsung Nexus S is just amazing compared to the MyTouch 4G. I really wish that I could swap the screens because it is amazing. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? We're going to talk about the weights. The Nexus S is amazingly light. It is 129 grams compared to the MyTouch 4G's 156 grams. The phones are really great, but seriously, you can definitely feel how light the Nexus S is compared to the MyTouch 4G. It's not a huge deal breaker, but it's pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk about the processor real quick. Both phones have a 1 GHz processor. The Nexus S has a 1 GHz Hummingbird processor, while the MyTouch 4G has a 1 GHz Snapdragon 2nd generation processor. So both phones are running amazingly fast. The big selling point on the phones, for me at least, was the overclock rate. For the Samsung Nexus S, they have been able to overclock the phone to 1.4 GHz, which is pretty awesome. Now, that's only when it's needed, of course. It is on demand. You can change it, but that's what I use it on. For the MyTouch 4G, it can actually be overclocked to 1.7 or greater, which is really awesome for a phone that is just fairly cheap. It can be overclocked to that much. It's just crazy. So let's see, what else do we have to talk about? For the memory and expansion of the Nexus S, it was a little bit disappointing to the people that were used to the Android phones that allowed expansion via SD cards. The Nexus S has a 16 gig built-in storage, which is kind of cool, but there is no SD card on this phone. So if you want to put in more storage, nope, can't do that. The MyTouch 4G, on the other hand, does have a SD card spot, and it does include a 8 gig SD card. It can be expanded to 32 gigs, which is pretty awesome. Right now I have a 16 gig card in here, which is kind of nice. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? The cameras. Ooh, this was one of the biggest choices for me. And at the end, I will be talking about the main differences that actually made me choose which phone I chose. Both cameras have a 5 megapixel back camera and a front-facing VGA camera. You can see it right there in the Samsung Nexus S, and there it is in the MyTouch 4G. So both cameras have a front and back-facing camera, which are really nice. I've used both, and I'm going to be honest with you. The camera on the MyTouch 4G is actually greater than the camera on the Samsung Nexus S, which made me very sad because I love this phone. I am going to be including a little sample of the camera quality and video quality right after this, so just chill out and watch this video so you can see the differences between the phones. Okay, so I guess you can make the decision as to which one you think looks better. Now I'm going to be talking about the battery in both phones. The Samsung Nexus S comes with a 1500 milliamp battery, which is pretty nice. The MyTouch 4G comes with a 1400 milliamp battery, which both phones really last quite a long time. This one was running for 10 hours yesterday. This one probably can last quite about the same, but really the batteries are great in both phones. I've had no power problems with either one of them. Let's see here, the software. This was another big thing that made the MyTouch 4G not as popular as the Nexus S, although I'm sure the MyTouch 4G sells better. But for the hardcore Android people, this will be something that you'd like to hear about. The Samsung Nexus S, of course, comes with Android 2.3, gingerbread. Why was I going for honeycomb, people? But anyway, yes, it comes with stock Android. Basically, there's no HTC Sense or TouchWiz, which the, what's it called? The other Galaxy S phones did come with TouchWiz, I guess. But yes, it comes with stock vanilla Android, which is just amazing looking and so great. While the MyTouch 4G actually came with HTC Sense, which I really did not like. Although it does work well, it just slows down the system, and I did install CyanogenMod on both phones. So of course you don't have to stay with the Sense. I mean, you can definitely switch if you know how to root the phone, which isn't that hard. But it is, like I said, it does void your warranty. Try saying that 3 times fast. But anyway, one of the last things I'm going to be talking about in this video, I'm sure a lot of you are like, thank God. Okay, one of the major things that, well, actually it wasn't too major. The Nexus S comes with a mere 512 RAM, the same as the Nexus 1, which was a little bit disappointing. I was really hoping they were going to put at least a gig in this phone, but of course they didn't. So basically, let's go into here. I know I haven't touched the phone the whole video, which is kind of sad. So if you look here, you can see the RAM usage, 148 megs left out of 345. The phone only has 512, which is a little bit sad, while the MyTouch 4G actually has 768 megs of RAM. Look how much I have left on this phone. So basically that's only a really big thing if you're actually switching applications a lot or using multitasking, which I actually do sometimes, listening to music and all that. But anyway, one last feature that I'm going to be talking about, well, there's actually 2 that I'm going to include into one. The Nexus, or the MyTouch 4G actually includes an FM radio, which I'm sure the Nexus S will be hooked up to eventually, just like they did for the Nexus 1, but it's not yet. It does have an FM radio as well as T-Mobile Wi-Fi calling, so where you don't have service, connect to Wi-Fi and you can make calls. Okay, that is basically the end of this video. I was going to actually show you some scores from Linpack and, what's the other one? Quadrant. Yes, I was going to show you some scores from both of those, but I know a lot of people don't trust those scores because they are, it's different hardware, so you can't really say that's comparable. But for the Linpack scores, the MyTouch 4G scored quite a bit more than the Nexus S, and for Quadrant, the Nexus S beat it by maybe 100. So it's not really a big difference in either phone, and I will tell you which one I've chosen now. I've used both phones for a few weeks, and the Nexus S was actually used for months. The Nexus S actually did have problems with rebooting, which was fixed in Android 2.3.3, which was the latest update. They actually just fixed that, which made me very happy. It hasn't rebooted once since then, other than when I rebooted. So it has been fixed, and so it worked quite well. That was a major glitch in the phone, and it's been fixed. So it's really great now, and both phones are actually running 2.3.3 now with CyanogenMod. Big props to him, he's awesome. So basically what I chose was the MyTouch 4G. I am really going to miss the display on the Nexus S and the weight because it is so much lighter and it just feels great in your hand. But the phone is great, both of them actually, so it's really up to you which one you want. Both phones are going to have their flaws, you know, but both phones are really great. I hope this video enlightens you so you won't have to buy both phones like I did. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up, click on favorites, and click on subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will be making another video very soon. I know I say that in every video and I never do, but I will be making one soon. Thank you for watching. You can also check out my second channel, which is AR, by clicking over there, and you can watch my vlogs. Thanks for watching like always. I'll see you guys in the next video.